Hey everyone, today's review is for the Deluxe Isis Megazord from Power Rangers Wild Force. I'm super excited for this one because up until recently I thought this would be one of those Zords that I would never own or never get at an affordable price, and it would put a huge dent in my wallet. This one seems to be extremely rare, which makes sense considering having it, I guess, in person, why it wouldn't have been extremely mass produced. It's one that I've kind of admired from afar for a few years, but just never really jumped the gun to get it because buying it on eBay or whatever just seemed like it was usually between $200 and $400, and that's a lot. Even with disposable income, that's a lot for what is essentially a toy. But I got one. I got a killer deal on it, and so now I'm super excited to actually get to share it with other people. So let's start this off. You've got the Rhino right here. You've got the Armadillo. You've got the big boy, the star of the show, the Falcon, the Deer Zord, and the Giraffe Zord. I have not seen Wild Force probably since it aired on whatever it was here, ABC Family. For me, I don't remember. I know it was on Saturday, so I'm not super up to lore standards. I just remember it was a sort of gift from Animus, and there was a trial and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Anyway, this set is very nice, and I like that it kind of comprises colors you don't see very often, aside from the obvious red. Purple's become more common, but like this light, almost sky blue. I guess Tori had that color in Ninja Storm, but then you've got this mint green, and you've got orange, which happens a little bit. This is the Mint Zord, and this is the Creamsicle Zord, and then there's these people. So one thing that I'm just going to pull it up on here, I don't even know if you'll be able to see it, but it's super faint, but when you look at it really close, all the paint, at least the color, like the gold and the green or red or whatever, it's not metallic, but it has little bits of glitter mixed in with the paint itself. So I would say it's got like a shimmering sheen to it. So the shimmer is really neat once you notice it. It's very subtle in real life. I don't know if the camera will get it at all. I can kind of see it on my screen here, but it's a neat touch, and it really adds to the mysticism of these Zords. Wild Force may not be like my favorite. I don't dislike it, but the Zords are super cool, and all of them, but especially like this Falcon right here, give me vibes of the art style of like the Mega Man Zero series, if any gamers are watching. Like that they look like they could be bosses in that series, so that's neat. So we'll start here, even though we picked up the deer to show, but this is the Rhino. He's very, very hefty, very heavy. Lots of die cast on him because he is the legs and the torso, I guess, the waist. And this is like fully metallic. And I like, well, die cast, same with the feet. I like how bulky he is because he is a Rhino. It makes sense. But I also like how he houses his transformation. He is an intense toy. Like, this is crazy. And the detail on him, the detailing is really, really cool. There's very little articulation. You can move the legs back when you like split it apart and stuff, but you can't really do much. If you push this horn here, his nose shoots off and it's an attack. I guess in theory you could use it outside of the Zord mode, but I'll get to that when we transform it. But it's pretty cool. The Armadillo is tiny, doesn't do much outside of its transformation. It does become the weapon in a sense. But it's so cute, I can't. Like, purple's my favorite color, and it's just so tiny. I don't usually subscribe to the idea that the tinier something is, the cuter it is, but this is an adorable little Zord, and I love it. It's right up there with Jungle Fury Penguin, but if we ever get to that review, I think you should know that penguins are my favorite animals, or one of my favorite animals, and I'm obsessed and biased. So this is adorable. I also like that this kind of implies that the eyes here are the cockpit if somebody were to be piloting this. And when you think about how big a human is, and you look at how tiny this Zord is, it kind of gives you an idea of scale for what humans would be against this. Now, it's a toy, you can't really do that, but just the idea that a person would fit in there, and then you see this towering colossus of a bird, which is taking up the whole station, I guess. I don't have a fun term for this, but sorry. Yeah, it's the scale of these things would be crazy in real life. Thank God that's not real, because that would be a terrible world to live in. The next is the Deer Zord. Very pretty color, like I said, mint green and gold go together very well. You can move his legs, you can put him in some fun poses, I guess, but he wouldn't be able to stand up. You can make him rear back. His head has some articulation, but that's mostly for his transformation. I guess this would be his mane, this hair design back here, I don't know. This fur makes his antlers open up, which is an attack, or how he uses his hand in Megazord mode. But I guess you could do it here. Like I said, I don't remember much of Wild Force, but I truly doubt these Zords attacked much on their own if it's like any other series, but it's kind of amusing to do. I would like it if these were metal and not this really harmless plastic, but I also get why they don't do that, because somebody would probably kill themselves or pinch themselves and it would hurt really bad, and that was that. So next is the Giraffe Zord, which is, like I said, that like cream soda, creamsicle orange. It's very light. It's almost the opposite of the Rhino, which we won't count the Armadillo in that because it's so tiny, but this is so light. Like, you see the chrome bits here on the bottom, but they're not die cast, they're just plastic, so they don't add any weight to it. It would have been neat if this was, I don't know if the Japanese version had die cast or not, but he just kind of feels almost cheap, but definitely not. His joints are good. Again, you can pose him a bit if you wanted to, make him jump. His tail kind of sucks. And like, you fold it in for the transformation like that, but when you pull it out, you've got to like align it, and then it can't move. Like, if you move it at all, it just becomes kind of wobbly, which is kind of the big feature of this Zord. Because of its attack in Megazord form, this head is super loose, and which also gives it a lot of posability. Looking at this Zord, I kind of imagine it's probably the sassiest one in existence, because it can just turn its head away from you and ignore you when you're talking to it. We all tell Charizords, right? But he has an attack, and I like it because he kind of embodies me when somebody says something rude about me. Excuse me? What did you say? So, lame jokes aside, though, he's very loose, but it does give you some look around. You can move the neck, have him graze and stuff, but that's mostly this transformation's sake. But he doesn't do much. None of these Zords really do on their own, but like I said, he's kind of like the least favorite, but also the funniest in, my sense of humor. So you can't open his mouth or anything, even though it looks like you would be able to, but you can't. So he's just kind of there. The deer, though, I forgot to say, you can open it, so it's there. He's here. So big boy here, the Falcon, is obviously the star of the show. He's huge. His wingspan is giant. I don't have a lot of room to maneuver him in here. I'm going to do my best to keep everything on camera, but he's also, in a weird way, the most fragile. I don't know if it's just mine or if all of them are like this or what, but his clips to keep his wings in place here, which comes into play in one of the Megazord formations, aren't very sturdy. They don't hold on very well anymore. And the wings actually detach, as I imagine they came in, like they detach here. I assume they came in the box like that because it would be incredibly hard to pack it. So they like to come out easily. Like I said, I don't know if that's me or if that's just how that works, but he's just a little loose. So when I do have him out in this mode, which isn't often, he's kind of hard to like fully make stand up because like you touch him and his wing falls down. But I'm gonna actually kind of bring him over here. You can hear my table. He's got a lot of pretty detail on him. I just love the coloration on it. There's not a lot of room for me to move. Or they fell over, whatever. But you can just see, which you'll get to see when we put in the Megazord mode, but he's gorgeous. And he's got that same, oh look, the wing fell, like I said. He's got that same metallic sheen, but it's kind of hard, or I guess the glittering sheen. And right here on the wing, or the tail feather, apparently this wasn't in the Japanese version, but there's 3 buttons here that play sounds and an off switch, which if you turn on, mine plays, but it sounds like the speaker has died from years of fun. That actually sounds better from when I tested it before the video. That does not, though. So it sounds like the speaker inside is dying. But apparently Bandai added that for American audiences, because, you know, we love sounds and stuff. I almost kind of want to import the Japanese Falcon, just because I would imagine, I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that it has more paint detail, and it doesn't have that. And for the cost of one of those, I would still pay less total than what this normally went for online. So I'm kind of leaning in that direction, but we'll see. But like I said, this thing is pretty. The joint and the peg here and the clip, super weak. Not really much I imagine I can do with it, and I don't want to break it, so I kind of just try to leave it alone. I don't think it'll break, but I also don't want to risk it. So he's going to chill there, and we're going to form the Megazord. And I'm going to try to, like I said, do this on camera as much as I can and keep it in view. But like I said, this thing is giant, so we'll just have to see here. So you start with the Rhino. Well, I start with the Rhino. And you split it like that. And it kind of just is a mess. And you twist it and turn it until you get all these pieces out, which I've already messed it up. So, hold on. This is, for whatever reason, it's really difficult for me to remember how to do. And I don't know why I have so much trouble with it. But you should have seen me getting it into Megazord formation, because, or not Megazord formation, but Zord mode, because it's hard. Like, it's not very intuitive. It's a cool system, like it's a really cool mechanism, I guess, but it's hell to put together, good lord. But I got it, it's fine, everything's fine. So you fold his back legs up to make fully formed feet, if you will. This is kind of loose too, and I don't know, like I said, if it's just the age of the toy or if that's just how it was or whatever. But once you get it like this, you're done. I'm actually going to do this a little differently than normal, since the wingspan takes up so much room. I'm going to knock over the camera and then move some of these guys over, because Falcon Boy wants to be the center of attention. So before I put it back in, because I don't want to have to maneuver this so much inside, but if you take the Armadillo, there's a piece right here. You fold it out, and it's like a bigger tail almost, but you fold him into himself, and it covers, and he makes a hockey puck, which kind of, it's supposed to be like a soccer ball, but you know, whatever, you get this. And if you want to do the attack, you position them kind of closely. I'm going to just move this like that because it's easier. You push his horn. Let's see if I can do it from this angle. Well, I did it, but I didn't hit him. So, boom. It actually has a little bit of force behind it, so it's kind of neat to see the Armadillo do that, you know, if you're playing with it, though. I feel, like I said, I don't think this is something I would buy for a kid to play with if a kid was interested in it. Sorry, kids. It's just too expensive to warrant the wear and tear. But the transformation for the Armadillo is a little difficult. I don't know if you'll be able to handle it. You take him and you see the foot here. You slide it in, and then once it's in there, you're done. So, oops. You might mess it up on your first time, so good luck. We're gonna push this back for a second because next on the list is the Falcon, for me at least. Goodness, I'm gonna actually take these out and let it fall over. His legs are super not sturdy, which again, I don't know if it's just this Falcon in particular or if it's all of them, but I folded his tail back because he's so delicate almost, but you pull his chest piece out here and it basically creates a spot for his head and neck to go into. So you pull him down like that, actually, and then you pull his face forward and his other face pops out. So you pull that up a little bit. It's hard to do when you're trying to show people. So you pull it up into the back, then you push the head back there. This piece just kind of dangles awkwardly. It kind of stands up, but like I said, it's loose on mine. So yours might actually stay, mine might not, I don't know. But there's nothing that goes in here. So it's a little weird. I don't know if he's supposed to be more sturdy than that or not, but it kind of is what it is. So once you've done that, these little pegs here fold out for the arms, so you need to pop them out. And then you take the legs and you fold them up, the feet, the talons, and you fold them up to where their little half crest here fits under this little tab piece, which is kind of hard to see, put it that way. That way they hold that piece up and they also form the chest plate. They don't lock in or anything. It just kind of sits there. So, but you form the chest piece that way. And like I said, you won't be moving the Megazord back and forth, presumably. But this doesn't just, at least mine doesn't. Oh, it locked in that time. All right, whatever. So there's a little feather here that you can also pull up to finish the formation. We'll just get that out of the way. I'm not even gonna reattach the wing yet until I get it on here, but there's two pegs here and here, which it's hard to see because it's black on black and they just fit on there. And you just plug them in. It's no different than anything else. But you see two legs. He's actually got three. I'm trying to hold this and adjust the camera, but basically he's so heavy because of the Falcon, he needs a stand, and this tail feather becomes that. So it has to be touching the ground or he will fall over. I'm going to reattach the wing here. It doesn't really clip very well, but like I said, he's heavy, so he just kind of, I wouldn't say wobbles exactly, but he balances. There we go, words. This is how we do words. Sesame Street would be proud. We're gonna just pull it up because you know what his feet looks like. So next, you take the deer. It's pretty easy. Oh dear. I didn't have a way to work that joke in, but I wanted to say it. And you fold his legs back, his feet back into his legs. And then his head comes down. You fold his legs up. I mean, I guess you could do this in any order you wanted to, but his back legs needs to basically be like that. Let's see, and you can try and keep his antlers a little more even than I did. And you just plug it on. I'm very careful when I plug that on because, like I said, I don't want to knock this thing over or have anything come off. It's delicate, okay? Giraffe works basically the same way as the deer. You take the tail and you just get rid of the tail. It just goes in there. It's kind of a weird function. Fold the legs back. Fold them up like that. Fold these down and then the legs down into them. And then you take the head and you fold it down straight. Now, I didn't show this previously, but there is a head guard piece for the spear form, because this becomes a spear weapon, even though it's just his hand. And you put it over his face, kind of like the Ninja Zords. The gorilla, no, it was an ape, and then the wolf, and you cover it up, and he gets a blade at the end. But like, it's super loose, so it just kind of wobbles. I don't know if that's just mine or not, but it seems like they would want it to like do that so kids didn't poke each other's eyes out. But then you just plug it into the side and you have the Isis Megazord, which he looks a little rough in here because, like I said, he doesn't have a lot of room and he's not super balanced. But man, do I love this thing. I'm gonna do stuff I don't normally do and just pull this down and just give you a better view because of the positioning. But this thing is so pretty in real life. Like, I love having this on the shelf. I love how it looks. I love the colors together. I love the gold and the silver. I just friggin' love this toy. It is so awesome looking. He has some cool little features. You know, I showed you the claw functionality. You can do that. You can grab the bad guys. It's fun. And then you can hear my sarcasm pulling through, but I assume kids would be more amused by this. It's neat like the first time, but I don't really actually play with these. His headpiece just flew off onto my floor. So it's a feature, not a bug. But it's really just a neat toy. Like, it's cool. I really like how it looks. I just love the design of it. And I don't know, he's just awesome. I'm very glad to own him. The Isis Megazord had 2 attacks. I don't remember super well what happened, but his wings come up here, and I believe it would like paralyze him with the eyes, kind of like a Pokemon glare. On the Japanese version, I know these were holographic, and they, depending on how you looked at them, the eyes would open and close, the irises would change, which was kind of cool. I'm doing this off camera, so, you know, that's helpful. So I actually like to keep his wings up when I've got him displayed most of the time, but I'm also clumsy, so it worries me that I'm gonna like hit it and knock the whole thing over if I'm walking by that shelf. But if you don't have the room to display him with his friggin' wingspan like this, you can go into shield mode. I don't remember what it was called in this show. But Jesus, you know, if it stayed in as well as it came off, this wouldn't be an issue. But you can fold this over, and then this pegs into the other wing, and he can shield himself, which is a neat little feature, and it's cool to see it like this as well. Either way you choose to display it is very, very, you know, aesthetically pleasing. But like I said, I super enjoy this. I can't say it enough. This thing just looks so awesome to me, and it's just such a fun, functional toy. Like, it's almost a shame that you can't get it for kids to play with it, because I imagine they could have some good battles or whatever. He does combine with the Deluxe Red Lion Zord, which I don't own yet, which is just a giant version of the Red Lion from the Wild Force Megazord, which I don't own either, but it's a big version, and you can make I believe it was the Pegasus Megazord. But I might try to track that down soon, because just a giant red lion on the shelf seems kind of neat, because like I said, I really like the designs of the Zords from this season. So this review was a little weird, a little awkward, because there's so much to manage while it's happening, but hopefully you enjoyed it and you like what you saw. So check me out on Instagram at Old God Machinations and on Twitter at OG Machinations. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye.